Last night I stumbled upon a movie called It's a Girl, and it was about the widespread practices of female infanticide and female feticide in India and China in right now. Um, and I I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised by the movie because I had heard almost as folklore throughout my childhood about the male bias in families where it was just very well known in Chinese culture that everyone prefers to have a baby boy. And it's sort of a little bit of a letdown when a girl is born because she's simply a burden economically who will then become someone else's daughter in law later and will often cost the family money. Not so much in Chinese culture because there's not that dowry system, but I learned a lot about the dowry system from what was discussed about India in the movie. And it was totally like such a surprising revelation about how an entire culture can begin to treat people as economic pawns because of certain practices. For instance, the dowry, where the expectation is that when you have a son, you actually have a means of gaining property when he gets married. And then when you have a daughter, that is a burden and an obligation that you have to give away property in order for her to get married. So it's like an immediate equation that forms in parents' minds because of this cultural paradigm. So, what it revealed also with the various interviews with women in the countryside who just had adapted to this mindset, and it was just a common practice, for instance, in India, to just learn different ways of killing your babies when they're born. Um, or in the case of China, learning how to evade government informants if you were to have a second pregnancy under this one child policy law. It's just like that's their normal. It's just like, yeah, this is what we do because this is our reality. And what it's led to is this whole widespread disempowered um, class of women who just are totally conditioned by a society that expects them not to say anything about this practice and to just totally accept it and to have no recourse. And this movie was, of course, I mean, to see all the voices in the movie was, in and of itself, these women were taking a stand to appear in the movie and to tell their story. So, um, what I'm trying to get to is the irony of the name of this blog, Bad Asian Daughter, overlaid on the other meaning of bad Asian daughter in that culture, which is that all daughters are at some level bad because they're worse than a son. And so there's a devaluing of women from the get-go. Just because economically from the very beginning they're just worth less. And then forget about, wanting to hear their perspective on the world because I mean, let's listen to what the assumptions are within these cultural practices, which is that when a person is married, whether they're a boy or a girl, their destiny is to be married and to have more kids. And it's like, okay, can we question that? Is that really the only life path? And in the cultural origins of these ideas, I guess, yes, the answer was yes. Otherwise, you were an outcast or considered insane or something. But for a woman to actually voice an opinion on something is quite revolutionary, and to um, to presume that she has value, not to mention equal value, but any value at all, is an act of defiance. So, I, throughout my watching of this movie, I was just, it was, it was shocking that this was happening now. This is not like a historical movie. This is like 2013, 2014. Um, and then here I am having my own struggle with this blog, which is, trying to um, give birth to this authentic voice. And this is my incarnation of having evolved from, however many generations before in my family had to overcome these ideas in order to come up with me being here at this point. So the definition of bad Asian daughter for me is like, it's another level of breaking the rules. It's like, okay, yeah, wow, I just see how it's like really so far beyond survival that I'm now able to talk at a different level about stepping into true, shining, abundant individual voice as the true identity. So what a journey from being a pawn in an economic scheme in a patriarchy, or just being someone's bride or a vessel through which a son could be born, to being here, clarifying my voice and message and who it is that I wish to serve through my love, through my learning, through my creating, and through this life that I have. So yeah, what bad Asian daughter really means. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, subversive against some kind of expectations, but I see now, like the roots of those expectations, having high expectations for a daughter is quite subversive. It's like actually saying, yes, you can achieve these things. I see that now is like, that's a radical act of of revolutionary, outrageous love, to say, yeah, you're a girl and you're going to get like the highest education ever, and that's that, and layered on top of that was the complicated message that I received that I should also be thinking about getting married to the right person and having the kids and all that. So there was that mixed message in there, leading to the confusion. But yeah, it's about valuing, it's standing in the value of our voice. It's just so important. And it's when you have that opportunity in life to call forth that voice in whatever way it is, you cannot not do it. It's like, oh wow. And I'm sitting here breathing, choosing to remember the other point that I wanted to make that went along with seeing this movie. And it's not coming to me. So I think I'll just turn the camera off and pick it up when it does come to me.